What's up, everybody? This is Clock Management. I'm your host, Justin, and as always, I'm joined by Perry.
Justin, I was thinking I'm never gonna play hide and seek with you, man, because someone like you is impossible to find.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
I felt
That was
flattered.
that. Yeah, that one is a good one. It implies that you're very good at hide and seek,
Growing
and
up, I
also,
was.
also you're one of a kind. You're a gem, which is
Yeah.
totally true. I bet you were. I bet you were really good at hide and seek growing up because your brothers were so mean to you
Yeah,
that
exactly. They just don't look.
you you were playing hide and seek. They were
Yeah.
playing let's make Justin go away.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 7 years younger than them. They hated me.
My
But
brother
it's
picked on
okay.
me too, but I don't think it was quite to that extent.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know I was there.
Yeah, you were picking on me as well. That's right. I forgot. uh, cool.
So
Well,
we got
dude,
week one, Perry. It
football.
happened.
It
Football
did.
is
It
here.
happened.
It's
The
exciting.
entire week happened, and as far as I know, the next one's happening still too.
Yeah,
Um,
tons of
not so sure on the
shockers.
third one.
Yeah, we'll see. One week at a time.
Right, right. Uh, I think there were some pretty interesting fantasy outcomes here. I mean, there's
Oh
some stuff
yeah,
to talk about for sure.
yeah. There's a lot of surprises. I think we didn't expect. There were players we did
Mhm.
expect. I mean, it's fantasy football, so shockingly, I was not right on 100% of things that I thought would happen. I am still stunned by it.
Yeah. AJ Green was fantasy relevant,
And did
but I
did not get hurt.
did not get hurt.
That is the
That's
most
right.
shocking part.
Uh, Stay tuned though. I'm sure he will.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll get into that stuff. We're gonna be talking about some waiver wire people, and then we got some a way too early victory lap, and
Which is very confusing.
yeah, an apology, an early
Yeah,
apology.
which is
Um,
also very confusing.
yeah,
But
yes,
we'll explain all that in a minute. Justin, we have a giveaway going on right now, don't we?
we do. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. You could win an autographed Keenan Allen jersey. And the other person never claimed the Cam Akers autographed football that's behind me somewhere. I don't know where I
Send it my way, dude.
rearranged.
I'll give it a home.
I'm I'm
Can go right next to that football.
I am going to just give it away to someone from this episode. Like, if you leave a comment on this episode, you're also going to have a chance to win a Cam Akers football.
What if the comments it belongs next to Perry's football? What if that's the comment?
I mean, then if they comment that, then I will give it to you, Perry. That
Yes.
they're entering this contract, so.
Oh man.
But also, you
Well,
guys can find us on all social medias: Clock Management Fantasy Football, or on Twitter at Management Clock. And we're also on all these platforms for your listening pleasure, as in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere where you listen to podcasts.
right on. And we don't have a sponsor right now, do we?
Actually, we do. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, we our good friends over at Fantasy Go are back. Fantasy football's happening. You can go there, hire your favorite analyst. You could hire us to help you, just give you advice one on one on your team, who you should add, who you should drop, who you should start, who you should sit. Or you can have us set it for you if you want to do that. And it's super cheap, super user friendly, and it just gives you a way to interact with analysts, which is awesome, awesome platform.
and you want my help. I scored the most points in the fantasy league this week, Justin.
Yeah, I know. I made some poor decisions and still managed to win.
Did you make
Yeah, I won
wait,
by
I
two
thought you lost.
points. Oh no, I lost. You're right.
You lost by
The
2 points.
Yeah, the
Okay.
other league, and we have two leagues. The dynasty, I won. I squeaked out a win.
I won in every league.
Did you? Well, you have. How many do you have?
Four.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty pumped. We won in our tri-state league
yeah.
on Twitter. We won pretty handedly in that one. Um, I won in our Dynasty League. I won in our League of Record. I'm
Oh
feeling
man,
good this week. I'm
I
riding high.
I'm in
Yeah.
a league with Nikki Snacks from BDGE, and I played him week one. Shout out to him. Awesome dude. Also, that was my biggest win. I completely crushed him.
Nice. Nice.
I
Cool.
told him not to start Danny Dimes.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
but
what?
we have a
Let me,
lot to get into with football.
yeah. But you said Danny Dimes, so I got to say this one more time. I got to say this right now. I think I was wrong about Danny Dimes. I know I said that he's going to have some really good games and he could be a spot start. Um, he looked terrible,
I,
like really bad.
there might be a week in there somewhere where you can start him that could make this justifiable. A spot, not spot starts, just one somewhere.
I was watching it happen and it was just like a cringe every time he threw the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
before we get into the news, I do also want to bring up Mitchell Trubisky, as long as we're talking about terrible quarterbacks, because he was atrocious for like the majority of that game. Completely horrible. And then I think he saw Nick Foles warming up or
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh no." Cuz then he became like a decent NFL quarterback.
I know. It was weird. It was weird. They should not have won that game. It's incredible.
Oh, poor. I felt so bad for Swift.
Oh man, how do you come back from that?
Yeah,
If you guys weren't watching the game, DeAndre Swift, rookie running back for the Lions, has a wide open, easy catch in the end zone, perfect
just
throw. It's a lob, and he drops it, and that catch wins the game.
Yeah.
And he
And
drops it.
yeah, 2 seconds left after he dropped that, so they had one more shot, but I mean, not even close to a chance after that.
That was terrible, man. Yeah, I hope he shakes that off because I think he's a talented guy. So
Yeah, and if I mean, real quick, if you guys were starting Gostowski as your kicker,
rest in peace.
right, you might need to find a new kicker.
Yeah, that was ugly. Oh my god. They still managed to beat us though.
Okay.
Still managed
With
Denver
Gostowski.
still managed to lose.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the
Oh.
timeout management was so bad. Okay, let's move on here. Let's
get
talk
into
about some news.
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about. Let's start right now with Marlon Mack. It's confirmed torn ACL for Marlon Mack. He is out for the season, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I feel so bad for him.
He doesn't have a contract going into next season. I don't know if we'll ever see Marlon Mack in the NFL again.
I think we'll see him again.
Possibility.
I just don't think as a starter. I could see him backing up someone somewhere.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy.
But also preseason as if we had one, before the season started, the time before the season, we were wondering, like with Jonathan Taylor, like I was getting more and more hyped on this kid as I'm like, he's great talent. It's just a question of when does he take over that backfield from Marlon Mack. And now we have an answer. It's right now.
It's week 2. Yeah. I do think Nyheim Hines, who had a great game, both fantasy wise and just he played really well, right? I think that he will continue to have a role in this offense. Phillip Rivers has always loved running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I do still think that Jonathan Taylor will be the guy. And I do think that he'll be super fantasy relevant. But Nyheim Hines is also probably going to get some work here. I don't think he'll be Austin Eckler levels. But it could be not Austin Eckler of 2019, but maybe Austin Eckler of like 2018.
Yeah.
Where Melvin Gordon was still really good. And so was Austin Eckler. And so Nyheim Hines could have something like that. So if he's available, he's definitely worth a waiver pickup.
Yeah, he has standalone value for sure, especially if you're in any sort of PPR.
Yeah. I do think that we could be seeing kind of like a Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler situation of like 2018, which would be really cool. I'm both super, super great players to own. So really sorry for Marlon Mack though. That's a huge bummer.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Mike Evans, Bruce Arians talked about Mike Evans' target share in week 1. And so that he was really disappointed and that he failed to meet the goal. His current goal for Mike Evans is at least 10 targets per game. So, Mike Evans is somebody that if you're having wide receiver trouble, I'd be willing to target buy low right now on Mike Evans. Uh, because people are probably pretty down on him after we see like Chris Godwin go out and play pretty well. Um, so how do you feel about Mike Evans? Are you willing to go buy him low right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just a horrible game all around
Mm-hmm.
against a good defense as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it hasn't changed my mind about him at all. It's just, I mean, I agree. It's sad that they did not get him targets, but yeah, I still believe in him.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't overreact is the theme of this episode, but take advantage of the people that do overreact is also the theme of this episode. And if people will be out there overreacting on guys like Mike Evans, and take advantage of that. All right. Philip Lindsay left the game on Monday night with turf toe. It's not a serious injury, but it's always kind of one of these nagging injuries that seems to hang around for a little while. Um, I would say that if he plays in week 2, it'll probably be at a limited basis. Melvin Gordon, right? You're really high on Melvin Gordon. This would
Yeah.
move Melvin Gordon up for me, clearly. Melvin Gordon found the end zone this week. That was great. Yeah, I mean Melvin Gordon right now could be a huge play going into week 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, you never want a player to have injury, but also another thing that I know both of us hate is when the coaches bench a running back after he fumbles one time.
Yeah,
And that happened to Melvin Gordon. He fumbled. They pulled him from the game. And
right.
then after this injury, they were forced to put him back into the game, uh,
And he
which,
played well.
yeah, he got his touchdown after that.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I mean, that saved me in some fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
like I said, I'm never happy to see an injury, but still, yeah, it
yeah.
helped. That did help him get back on the field.
Michael Thomas, this is probably the biggest name to see a significant injury this weekend. Is going to miss several weeks due to sprained ankle. Uh, really sucks. Michael Thomas went in the first round in probably every league. So hopefully he'll be back, as soon as possible. Emmanuel Sanders definitely takes a jump up here. Decent waiver priority right now with
Yeah,
with Emmanuel Sanders, and then Jared
yeah,
Cook.
I was gonna say Jared Cook. Yeah,
Yeah, Jared Cook. If you're a little queasy right now regarding your tight end, Jared Cook could be huge. And then kind of a deep league pickup, Traquan Smith could see a lot of involvement in the passing game. So that one could be pretty fun as well. We have Mohamed Sanu getting signed by the 49ers. The Niners finally go out and get a little wide receiver help.
and they were actually trying
Probably
to trade for him last year before the Patriots did too.
right, right. Patriots did cut him, so with Debo Samuel's on injured reserve, Mohamed Sanu should step in. And Mohamed Sanu was decent last season. He had 59 receptions for 520 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, that was with the Patriots / the Falcons, mostly the Patriots. I kind of like this landing spot for
For,
Mohamed Sanu.
I mean, I do, but at the same time, I don't because it worries me more about Debo and Ayuk. Like
Right.
Debo
Well, I
was a
I
late
think it
scratch due to re-injuring his leg.
right, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that also George Kittle is dealing with a knee sprain.
Yeah.
Um, I would not expect him to play week 2, to be completely honest with you. I think that there's too high of a risk right now in
Oh, for
putting him out
Kittle.
at week 2. Yeah, for
Okay.
Kittle.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I hope they play it safe with him. Honestly, uh,
Yep.
for fantasy and real life. For fantasy, you don't want them to rush them back, like do something stupid
Right.
like the Jets, and get him injured further.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot easier decision for them had they won that game. You and I kind of called that game would be close, but we both expected the Niners to win.
Yeah.
Cardinals came out
Yeah,
strong,
but we both
and
said that we wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals
right.
won.
But
Uh,
it's just showing that AFC or NFC West is going to be
oh
really
man,
tight. So
yeah,
every game is really going to matter there.
yeah.
So I
Three
feel
of
like there's
those
going to be
teams
some
could make the
pressure.
playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be some pressure for them to start Kittle, but I do hope that they don't.
And
Uh,
I'm gonna steal a little bit of your thunder here because I alluded to this already. Uh, Le'Veon Bell had a hamstring injury during the game, and
mhm.
then the coach put him back in, and he further injured his hamstring, and
Yep.
now he's going to miss multiple weeks.
He was placed on injured reserve.
Yeah, which is a little bit different this year because now it's only
Yeah.
for 3 weeks. You can come
Right.
off after 3 weeks.
Right. So LaMichael Pirine is still nursing an ankle injury. You got Frank Gore and Josh Adams.
Frank Gore just made his way back to relevance.
I actually kind of was a little bit excited about Josh Adams as like a deep waiver pickup, but the Jets went and picked up Kalen Ballage now to just completely mess up that backfield. So who knows who's getting the work in that backfield?
I really hope it's Frank Gore, and it'll be like the most inefficient, like the inefficient or the efficiency will somehow go down.
Yeah, I'm not touching that backfield, period. Sorry if you have Le'Veon Bell. I know that I mentioned that he would be kind of a fun person to draft due to the workload that he was guaranteed to have. That workload was apparently too much, being sent back in, and he's like, my leg hurts, and they're like, go run it off, and it didn't work.
Man, how upset was Devonta Freeman when Kalen Ballage got hired for that job?
I know, right? Devonta Freeman, I cannot believe he has not gotten a job. He's asking way too much money, apparently. I think he might be done in the NFL. Yeah, I think he might be the next Des Bryant. You know what I mean?
It could, yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah. He should be on a team right now, and he is not. So
yeah. Some of you may have heard that Allen Robinson had requested a trade from the Bears. Both Allen Robinson and his agent have come out to report that neither of them have requested a trade. But
he's also removed any picture of him in a Bears uniform or any Bears emblem from all social media.
Yeah, I think
he is definitely not happy with them.
I think there's something to pay attention to here. But I think they'd be more forthcoming to talk about, I want to trade if they had some offers or, some teams had showed some interest. I don't know what to do with that. Yeah. I really like Allen Robinson this season.
Oh man, what's his name? The running back for them.
Tariq Cohen?
Yeah, Tariq Cohen. I kept wanting to say Tyreek. Tariq Cohen also tweeted out today, pay A-Rob, hashtag pay A-Rob.
Yeah, they should. No kidding. They really should. A guy that I told everybody to avoid in the draft, who I actively avoided in our draft, Justin.
For me, was both of our avoid.
Yeah. James Conner has hopes to play in week 2 after an ankle injury that he suffered early in week 1. I doubt he's going to play personally.
And I think high ankle sprain.
If he does play, he's just going to leave that game again too. You can't start James Conner. You can't get rid of him as far as I'm concerned.
And this was our exact concern with him.
Yep. Yeah, it's all these weird little nagging injuries that just keep him off the field. And that sucks because James Conner as a person is awesome. I mean, he's a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Awesome dude, but he can't stay on the field, and that makes him a fantasy nightmare. So Benny Snell looked really good in Conner's absence. Really good.
And he looked twice as fast as Conner.
Yeah. Benny Snell is one of my favorite waiver priority targets this week. I've got about 3 of them, one of them being Jonathan Taylor, who we already talked about, but he's probably owned in most leagues.
I'll get into some waivers here in a minute.
But yeah, avoid James Conner. I passed him up in our league. I took Austin Eckler over him. And
I took Melvin Gordon over him.
Yeah. All right. We talked about George Kittle. Blake Jarwin tore his ACL, will miss the rest of the season. That sucks for Blake Jarwin, 26 years old, was poised to have a really good season, taking over for Jason Witten, who for some reason didn't retire and went to the Raiders instead. But he had 25 snaps this season and tore his ACL. So Blake Jarwin is done, and it sucks to see, man. But maybe go pick up who did we just talk about at tight end? give you a few names who you could go pick up.
Like, did we just
Jonnu
talk?
Smith, OJ Howard,
Yeah.
Jared Cook.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, like go pick up one of those guys if you just lost Blake Jarwin. But
Even
yeah,
even Jimmy Graham, as sad as
don't
it
go
is.
don't go pick up Jimmy Graham.
I'm not opposed to it just because I mean with the tight ends that are on your waiver wire, like he got a ton of red zone targets, and hopefully he gets you a touchdown. I mean that's all you're banking on there.
Yeah. Miles Sanders, hopeful to play in week 2. Justin, I know that you're hoping that he plays in week 2.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, he's sorely missed against Washington. Boston Scott and Corey Clement managed to rush for just 54 yards in week 1, which is just abysmal, man.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
Yeah, that's not what you want. Okay, cool. That's some of the larger injury news that I wanted to talk about.
Okay, cool. Oh, you did Njoku.
David Njoku. Yes, sorry. David Njoku has been placed on IR. Knee injury, right? Was a sprained knee?
Yeah. So
yeah, medial collateral ligament. So his MCL. He's sprained his MCL. Nothing to mess with, honestly, right? The next level or the next thing to happen would have been a torn MCL, and he's done for the season. So Njoku definitely won't be around for a little while. Austin Hooper.
Yeah, definitely.
Go pick up Austin Hooper if you need a tight end.
Yeah, if he's available.
If he's available, I don't know if he is or not. I don't know. He's available in our league.
Yeah, I know.
Should I go get him?
I don't know who your tight end is.
I'm not going to go get him. I have Hayden Hurst.
Okay. I was going to bring that up actually. Hayden Hurst, you know, we're all expecting him to get the most of Austin Hooper's targets, and he did not.
No.
Gage came through, and as well as Ridley, they both killed it. I mean, that was kind of surprising that he wasn't more relevant to me.
Yeah, I was surprised as well, but I don't know. What can you do? Yeah, I think with all the targets that are going around, I think Matt Ryan threw the ball 54 times this week. 450 yards. I mean, it's literally exactly what I said he would be doing.
Yeah.
Hayden Hurst has
that game. We scripted that game out.
Yeah,
it was going to be a shootout. Tons of offense, tons of throwing the ball on both sides of the from both teams, and we both expected Todd Gurley to get the majority of his work inside the red zone, which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
He found the end zone again. I'm okay with you guys starting Todd Gurley as your flex, just fishing for those touchdowns. He's gonna find them until we hear a report of Todd Gurley has some knee pain and is missing time. Just keep plugging him into that flex and taking your 45 yards and a touchdown. Just keep taking it.
Yeah, there's certain players like another one of those players that I'm okay with until he gets hurt would be oh my god, I just blanking on his name from the Texans.
Will Fuller?
Will Fuller, yeah.
Yeah, start Will Fuller until he gets hurt.
I told multiple people, I told people not to draft him, to draft like Brandon Cook, some other people, but that's for season long. But until Will Fuller gets hurt, you start him.
My problem with Will Fuller in the draft, just so everybody's clear, is the value or the cost of Will Fuller.
Yeah.
Because he will not play the entire season. It's if you got him super cheap, put him out there because Will Fuller is really good when he's on the field. It's never been an issue about Will Fuller being on the field. It's him
or his talent. Yeah, he's hugely talented. It's just he's hugely injury prone.
Right. Okay,
let's get into some waiver wire.
Yeah, Justin, tell me about some waiver.
All right, I'm gonna go through some guys here, and I just want to get your opinion on them. Whether this a guy you would consider putting a waiver in for, and like, let's say how deep of a league it would need to be for you to want this guy, or at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So Malcolm Brown from the Rams.
I'm okay with putting in a waiver priority on Malcolm Brown. My one concern is that Cam Akers is going to start getting more work, right? So what we saw last week out of Malcolm Brown, and I'll pull up exactly what his numbers were here, or at least
He
how
had
many fans.
18 carries for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns and
Right,
3 catches for 31 yards.
right. So Malcolm Brown, he's going to continue to be relevant, but that relevancy is going to slowly creep down as Cam Akers' relevancy slowly creeps up. So
Yeah, he
if you're
definitely
picking
looked
up,
the best on this past week.
definitely, yes, he was the best running back on the field for the Rams that week.
Yeah.
I do not think that he will continue to be so. So if you're picking him up in the thought that great, now I have a rest of the season plug and play running back, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I there's a couple leagues where I have Cam Akers and I put in a waiver for him because I can hold on to him till Cam Akers is the clear starter and then I can drop him.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Benny Snell, a guy you brought up earlier.
I would actually probably rather have Benny Snell than Malcolm Brown, to be completely honest. Just because I think the likelihood of James Conner being healthy all season is very, very low. Benny Snell looked really good when he was on the field, not just rushing the ball, but also catching the ball. And I'm sorry, but Ben Roethlisberger kind of just got right back to what he's been doing. And Ben Roethlisberger being healthy and doing his thing has always been good for the healthy running back on the team. And right now, that healthy running back's Benny Snell. I think that I could pick up Benny Snell and start him
Yeah,
in quite a few leagues in week 2.
he had over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, he looked awesome.
Only 3 running backs did that this week.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at the lack of hype that Benny Snell's getting right now as a waiver pickup.
I agree with you, and like watching him on the field was just he looked great. He looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just making defenders miss. He was quick. His cuts were like they're crisp cuts as he cut up field, and
Right.
he impressed me watching him play.
Yeah, I think had he found the end zone, people would be a lot more excited. But again, touchdowns are really hard to predict. You shouldn't chase touchdowns. Opportunity and production, right? Those are the things that we're really concerned about. And 19 rushes for 113 yards. That's awesome. That's what I'm looking for in a waiver pickup. I like that, especially when I know the running back ahead of him is not healthy.
Yeah. All right, this next guy. Speaking of those things, Naheem Hines.
Yeah, Naheem Hines for me, um, I I would be happy if I got him, but it'd have to be the right situation for my team. He's strictly a flex play for me, strictly a flex play. I think his upside is kind of like what I was saying before, Austin Eckler of 2018, maybe even like a Tariq Cohen,
Yeah,
um, upside. But the problem is he's not going to get the bulk of the carries, right? That's
for
just
sure.
not
Yeah.
where he's at. He's not going to get the goal line work whatsoever. But his quarterback does love to pass to, the pass to the running backs coming out of the backfield. I would say that right now my order of priority would be Benny Snell, Naheem Hines, and then Malcolm Brown, which I think is pretty controversial.
Yeah. Um. So I think I go. I'm okay with that. Naheem Hines and Benny Snell are basically a coin flip for me, and then Malcolm Brown.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. The problem with Malcolm Brown is that Cam Akers is there. There's nothing wrong with Cam Akers that we know of right now.
yeah, and I
And,
and I think so. Benny Snell, I think, has a huge ceiling.
mm-hmm.
He like I think he is more talented than Malcolm Brown as a runner.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
and especially in PPR formats. And I think that this guy can really produce, and his ceiling's just so much higher to me. Uh,
Yeah,
I would rather have that high ceiling when I'm grabbing a guy off the waiver.
absolutely. I completely agree. I like Benny Snell a lot.
Yeah, I think I have him in a dynasty. But anyway, next Dallas Goddard, tight end for the Eagles.
This one's really tough because I mean, is Zach Ertz still the number one tight end in Philadelphia? I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh, Zach Ertz found the end zone. right? But then Dallas Goedert was the guy. But Zach Ertz got a lot of targets. He just didn't catch them. Um, I think that until there's some healthy wide receivers on that team, both
Exactly.
of these tight ends are a must start.
Yeah, completely
And
agree.
and if you've got one of these tight ends that you're not sure on, you're not confident on, maybe you waited on tight end and you weren't excited with what he gave you in week one. Yeah, sure, go grab Dallas Goedert. I don't think he'll be disappointed. I think his floor is pretty high. I think he met his ceiling in week one, but I think his floor is pretty high.
Okay. James Robinson from the Jaguars. The He ended up being their starting running back that nobody knew would be their starting running back.
No. I'm not going to go put a waiver priority in on Robinson.
I agree
I
with
mean,
you. Like, I would rather have any of those other running backs. He got all 16 of the rushes from that team, but Leonard Fournette is going to get, Leonard Fournette left there, but Raquel Armstead is going to get some of those eventually.
right.
Uh,
Right.
and I mean, it's just a horrible offense as well, and it's
Yeah,
not an elite level running back that can overcome that.
that's kind of my point. Is I've always thought Leonard Fournette was far better than the offense he was surrounded by, and I think all that happened was they downgraded at running back.
Yeah, and
The
then
offense didn't change
they have Chris
or
Thompson
improve.
there too, which I was shocked they didn't use him, but
Mm-hmm.
he's still, I mean, he's there as well, and I think you have it's like it's not a three-headed monster because no one's afraid of it. It's like a three-headed kitten.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
intimidating.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna go put a waiver priority in on James Robinson unless it's a deep league. If it's a really deep league, yeah, definitely go grab him. There's some value there, but in these redraft leagues, our 10-team league, there's absolutely no chance he'll be rostered in our 10-team league.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple more I'm gonna go through.
Okay.
I got three more I want to get through. Uh,
Okay.
Paris Campbell, wide receiver for the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, if you need help at wide receiver, but I'd be surprised if you did. Wide receiver so deep this season still. It's still very deep this season. So I mean, I'd probably be more interested in somebody like Robbie Anderson.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I really like both of those players, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with either one of those. I think this one you like, uh, Anthony Miller.
Yeah, I do like Anthony Miller. I mean, I don't know if I need to put a waiver priority in for Anthony Miller. I feel like he's probably somebody that's going to pass through waivers and that I can pick up later in the week and not have to, use my priority on him. Um, but if we hear any more news about Allen Robinson being traded, I'm very, very high on Anthony Miller.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. If Robinson leaves, he's now their number one receiver, which makes
Yeah,
this a lot more interesting.
yeah, no doubt about it.
Um, Next, last one here, Josh Kelly, the rookie running back for the Chargers.
Um, yeah, so I'm going to talk about Austin Eckler in a little bit, which I think you can't really talk about Josh Kelly without talking about Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
Uh, Personally, I just don't think that this offense is going to be good enough
to
um,
sustain them both.
to sustain them both. I know people want Josh Kelly to be the new Melvin Gordon, but I just don't think that's happening.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. The offense doesn't look like it's going to be able to sustain all these
Right.
guys. So
Right, and I think I'll talk about Austin Eckler in a little bit, which will kind of talk about Joshua Kelly in the same same vein. Then
yeah, I lied to you. I'm gonna throw one more at you.
okay,
Logan Thomas, the tight end for the football team.
no, I'm not gonna do it personally. I do not want an untested tight end on a really bad team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. and it's the tight end position too. Like I can't imagine what tight end I drafted to be in the situation where I'm considering picking up Logan Thomas. But I know when people go look out there at available tight ends, some websites, he's going to pop up as a recommended tight end. So
yeah, just looking at our league, Justin, our 10-team league, Jonnu Smith is available.
Yeah.
OJ Howard's available. Jared Cook is available. Or Jared Cook is not available.
Yeah,
sorry.
I have Jared Cook.
No, you don't.
Oh, different league then. I have too many leagues.
TJ Hawkinson's available.
Yeah,
those are all guys I'd rather have.
Yeah, go grab Hawkinson right now, Perry.
Jonnu Smith. I think that Jonnu Smith needs to be picked up in a lot of leagues.
I was watching. I need to watch some tape of all these games still, but like I really liked what I saw from Hawkinson as well.
Yeah, no, it's nice to see him actually do something other than just blow up completely. So yeah, okay. I'm excited.
So let's get to the last part of this episode, Perry. We got our victory lap and our early apologies. You want to kind of...
Which is, okay, so I got a text from Justin, and he said, do you want to do an episode about a way too early victory lap?
Yep.
Which I interpreted as, don't get overhyped on this player too quickly. And then early season apology, which I interpreted as, it's okay. We can apologize for week 1 on this guy. Don't worry, he'll be okay going forward.
Yeah. And what I meant, which I assumed, I mean, the first part, Perry, I feel like this one, all on you. You know me well enough. I want to take my early victory lap. I need to gloat.
You're right.
Completely your fault.
You gotta know the author. So it's my fault.
Yeah. The second one, the apology, I meant like players that I thought were going to be bad, but actually did pretty well this week. I'm not necessarily sold on these players, but I owe them an apology for this week.
Yeah. So we're going to do both.
Yeah. Perry's going to do his way. I'm going to do mine my way. And that's what's happening. That's just it. That
is what's happening.
Let's hear your victory lap play. Yeah, victory lap players.
The first guy that I don't want people to get overhyped on is Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert had 15 attempts for 56 yards. He had 4 catches for 95 yards, 75 of which came on 1 play. And so we know that Raheem Mostert can just bust a 75-yard catch or run at any point for a touchdown. I completely know that that's possible and that could happen. But Jerick McKinnon, this was his first game back in over a year. And he played well while he was on the field. He only had 3 rushes, but it was for 24 yards. He looked really good on those 3 rushes. He also had 3 receptions and a touchdown for 20 yards. Those numbers, that the rushing number and the reception number, are probably going to go up for Jerick McKinnon.
And Tevin Coleman as well.
And Tevin Coleman,
he didn't play because of the air quality with the pre-existing health condition, so he's going to be there in the future as well, getting carries.
Right. So don't get overhyped on Mostert. In fact, sell him right now. He's a very high value at the moment. You can get quite a bit for a running back that performed well in week 1. So I'm a sell on Mostert, and it's way too early to have a victory lap about Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, that's true. But you know who I'm taking a way too early victory lap with my hands up in the air about? Josh Jacob.
Yeah.
People,
big boy.
Yeah, he has no pass catching. Everyone wanted to talk about literally every no-name running back that they brought in and signed that was going to take all the pass catching work away from him. That didn't happen. He got 6 targets, caught 4 of them. That's fantastic. Killed it in the running game as well. Touchdowns. He is the number 1 running back this week. So I'm going to take my early victory lap before he plays a great defense next week and I fall on my face.
All right. No, I mean, Josh Jacobs was, yeah, all and more that you predicted him to be. So,
I do worry next week, though. Don't expect those numbers next week. He's playing a great defense, so.
Yeah. Okay, so then my second way too early victory lap is Sammy Watkins. Last season, 2019, Sammy Watkins went out and had one of the greatest wide receiver fantasy games of all time. And then had one of the most non-existent fantasy wide receiver seasons of all time. He came out in week 1 this week, did not have quite the same game as he did week 1 of 2019, but he did see the most targets, the most yards, and the most receptions on the team. I don't think that will happen again this season. Not even come close.
I need it not to. He killed my Mecole Hardman.
Yeah. So if you can find somebody that's hyped on Sammy Watkins and his performance in week 1, go grab somebody like a N'Keal Harry for Sammy Watkins. I really like that trade. If you could pull that trade off, that would be pretty awesome.
And I think that's a trade that you can talk people into.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, my second one that I'm doing my early victory lap on is, and this one I feel super confident in, is DK Metcalf. Seattle they're throwing the ball, and they had 3 receivers with 100 yards, I believe. Or no, was it 3? It may have been 3, but anyway, him and Lockett both killed it. DK did a little bit better than Lockett. Which is exactly
on the end zone.
Yeah, exactly. Which is basically what I was predicting, is I expected them both to have pretty similar yardage, with DK getting a little bit more, and that DK would slightly outscore him for the season. So as long as they do this exact thing every game, I am 100% right.
And DK had a really nasty drop too. His numbers could have been even better. But the thing that was really nice to see was after that really terrible drop, they went right back to him.
Oh, yeah.
That's when he scored that touchdown.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's, he's not the coach that we talked about when we were saying when the running back fumbles, he pulls them, as is very apparent by last season.
Yeah. Chris Carson would not have a job if that were the case. So
yeah, most offenses, Chris Carson would just ride the bench.
Yeah. Okay, so my early apologies, as in, it's okay that you had a bad week 1. Don't worry, you're going to come back just fine. Is DJ Moore is the first one. DJ Moore had 4 receptions for 54 yards, which is not the stat line that we wanted to see from DJ in week 1. But the fact that he had 9 targets is very encouraging. You know, if we can guarantee DJ Moore gets 9 targets a game, I'm going to be pretty happy with the results, I think, in the end. It was the first game with a new quarterback, so it wasn't unreasonable to expect him to, not have everything clicking perfectly. I expect him to have a nice bounce back game against the Bucks. So somebody that you might be able to go buy low at the moment is DJ Moore. I don't think Robbie Anderson is going to be the number 1 receiver on that team in terms of fantasy week after week, right? Robbie Anderson had a really big touchdown catch, which inflates his numbers quite a bit at the moment. And I just think DJ Moore connects, like, on 3 more targets here. We're looking at a much, much different stat line. So,
yeah, I completely agree. I still love DJ Moore. I'm willing to forgive him. And then
you see,
yeah,
you see, it works.
My apology is to Josh Allen. We've been giving Josh Allen a lot of flack. Well deserved.
He still can't pass.
Well deserved. But he did finally throw for over 300 yards in a game. 312 yards. So I got to give him his credit. Congratulations, Josh Allen. I apologize. Now,
does that mean he's an NFL quarterback now?
I guess so, if Baker still is.
Oh, God. Yeah. God. Just watching Josh Allen throw the football is just the worst. I'm really ready for rushing yards to get nerfed for quarterbacks.
Yeah,
it's so
dumb. He did still have 57 rushing yards,
and a touchdown.
Yeah, extra 5 points for him there. And he had 1 rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns. So he ended up with a good fantasy day. But again, this isn't it's still not a quarterback I want on my team.
Yeah. All right. And then my second apology of the week is Austin Eckler. I'm going to apologize for Austin Eckler. I think he's going to be just fine going into the rest of the season. He's working with a new quarterback. He's in a new offensive scheme. I'm not really all that surprised that they struggled to get him the ball. It had nothing to do with his performance, actually. He played really well. He just didn't get the ball, the passing work that he was getting last season. Justin, what if I told you that Austin Eckler's 84 yards this week would have been his second highest total last season?
Really?
Yes.
That's
By quite a bit.
wow.
He had one game at 101 yards last season. That was his only game over 100 yards. Everything else was quite a bit lower than 84 yards. All his work came in the passing game.
Yeah.
And the fact that he only had one target is just insane. He's one of the best players on the team, if not the best. Him and Keenan Allen, right, would be fighting for that. And they have to get him the ball. They know they have to get him the ball. They're going to put the ball in his hands. I'm not worried about Austin Eckler going forward.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Austin Eckler. He's still especially as far as the running backs go, he's the most talented person there. He's going to continue to get plenty of work.
Yep. Again, the offense isn't great. I know that. I know they're not going to score a ton of points, but if Austin Eckler's putting up 80 yards rushing a game and then also has like 5 receptions for another 60 yards and then finds the end zone like 6 times this season, Austin Eckler's just fine. So,
yeah. All right, my last guy for that I want to apologize to is that's Malcolm Brown. I talked a lot of crap about him and his inability to impress last year, and that the Rams just didn't want him to be their guy, and that's why they went and got Cam Akers. Malcolm Brown he was by far the best running back on that field week 1. He got 18 attempts. Cam Akers had 14. He had 79 yards. Cam Akers had 39. So his average was 4.4 yards. Cam Akers 2.8. So, I mean, obviously he is the better back. He impressed. He actually looked pretty good on that field too. Like he did not look like the player I saw last year. So I think he did a great job. And I think that's going to slow Cam Akers down from taking this job completely. So I do think he affected that backfield with his performance this week. So I got to give an apology to him, Malcolm Brown. But as I spoke, he's in my waiver priority. He's just not in the top 2. He's still number 3. So I guess I'm not giving him all the respect.
Yep. I like that, man. Okay, we'll communicate better next week.
Or not. We'll just both keep doing our own thing.
We'll
whatever.
Just both wing it.
We're basically just gonna have 2 podcasts that just happen at the same time.
Yeah, 2 podcasts just running into each other at full speed.
Yes.
Football.
Yeah, that's basically how Eddie Lacy always ran the ball.
Just it wasn't that high of a full speed.
yeah, his full speed wasn't that fast. So
he was running full speed into a McDonald's.
To a buffet.
I'm sorry, Eddie Lacy.
And I am just happy that I have, and you, no matter how many times we do this episode, for my apology, you will never, ever see TJ Yeldon on here.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna. I was like, is it gonna be TJ Yeldon or is it gonna be Todd Gurley?
All right. Good show, and we'll do our next one and talk about week 2. Break down which players you want in, which players you don't. So we'll see you guys for that one.